Press pause on that contract. One sentence hidden on page 5 can quietly wipe out 500 million naira of value before the ink is dry. I've watched it happen. Great partnership, big smiles, champagne emojis, and then a mail. We are terminating for convenience. Or a fine print line that says, if they mess up, the most you can claim is 3 months of fees. Today, I'm going to keep this very simple. 2 traps: termination for convenience and limitation of liability. What they mean in plain English, how I've seen them hurt clients, and the exact words you can use to protect yourself. Of course, the names I'm going to be using and few facts are changed to protect my clients. This is education, not personal legal advice. Imagine you own a business here in Nigeria, maybe a delivery company, a software service, a manufacturing supplier, or even a marketing agency. You sign a big contract that finally puts you on the map. You hire staff, buy equipment, train their people, even plan campaigns. Then boom, an email gives you 30 days to pack up because they changed strategy. You did nothing wrong. They just found an easier option. That is termination for convenience. It sounds fair. Either party can end it. But in real life, it usually protects the big company and punishes the smaller company that invested upfront. Let me tell you about one of my clients. I'll call him Tunde. He built a fast-growing logistics service for online sellers. We got him a partnership with a giant marketplace. In a rush to launch, someone on the other side slipped in a line in the contract that said either party may terminate this agreement for convenience within a 30-day notice. I flagged it. We asked for guardrails and they said, don't worry, we'll never use it. It's just standard. My clients chose to trust. 6 weeks later, deliveries are flying. Customers were happy. And his team is finally breathing. And on day 60, he gets an email. We are terminating for convenience. Internal restructuring. No breach, no complaints, just convenience. We fought for a transition plan and some cost back. We got something, but the real loss was momentum. He had hired based on that volume. He had told investors about that pipeline. That one sentence turned his victory into a scramble. If you hear this sentence, either party may terminate a contract for convenience, translate it immediately. What they are simply saying is, we can walk away anytime, even if you did nothing wrong. If you must accept it, add guardrails. Number 1, notice. Ask for 45 to 90 days notice, not 30 days. Number 2, a wind down payment. This is money that lands if they choose to leave. This is so you are not carrying all the cost of being abandoned. Number 3, transition help. This keeps the service running while they help you migrate customers or data. Without those 3, for convenience is a trap door under your feet. Now let's talk about the second trap, limitation of liability. This is the line that determines how much they pay you if they cause harm to your business. Here is how it sounds. Our total liability will not exceed the fees paid 3 months before the claim. We are not liable for consequential damages. In plain English, if we mess up, we will repay a small amount and that is the end of it. Sometimes you can live with a cap, but 3 months of fees in sectors like logistics, software, banking, media, 3 months is a joke, especially if they cost you a major client or shut you down for a weekend. I have this client, I'll call her Amaka. She runs a school management software service. She partnered with a data hosting provider. Their contract capped liability at 3 months of fees and offered only service credits for downtime. We pushed for exceptions. No cap for fraud, willful misconduct, gross negligence, breach of confidentiality, data breaches, intellectual property theft, or regulatory fines caused by them. They resisted. My client was eager to launch and she signed. A few months later, a certain mistake on their side created a full-day outage the week schools were releasing results. Angry parents flooded support. One big school left the platform. The provider apologized and said, your remedy is credits. The cap is 3 months of fees. That didn't touch the real damage. We negotiated extras and a longer recovery plan, but we couldn't fully undo the cap she had accepted. I'll never forget what my client told me later. She said, I basically insured them. And that's true. A very low cap moves the risks from the party that caused the problem to the party that suffered it. If a partner insists on a cap, aim for at least 12 months of fees as the general cap and make sure there are exceptions. Uncapped for fraud, willful misconduct, gross negligence, intellectual property infringements, breach of confidentiality, data protection failures, and regulatory penalties, or even third-party claims caused by them. And if they want to exclude consequential damages, carve back the things that matter in the real world, like costs of responding to data breach, money you must pay to third parties because of their mistake, and regulatory penalties tied to their actions. I promised to keep this lively, so try this quick test with me. Which sentence sounds safer? Either party may terminate for convenience, or no termination for convenience for the initial term. The first one sounds polite, but is dangerous. The second one is boring, but safe. Polite words don't protect your payroll. Clear words do. Let me give you a win, because it's not all horror stories. I had this client, and I'll call him Kemi. He runs a construction materials company. He signed a supply contract with a property developer. The first draft had termination for convenience inside the first 6 months, a low liability cap, no clear plan for what happens to the goods already in production, and nothing about paying for rush orders if they changed their mind. We didn't argue. We explained the money. We are buying raw materials based on your forecast. That's what we said. If you can walk away at any time, we need a safety net. We propose simple fixes. No termination for convenience in the first term. If they really needed it later, fine. 90 days notice or a fair wind down payment. And the commitment to pay for work already in progress. Liability capped at 12 months of fees with exceptions for the serious stuff. A clear rule that if they cancelled after production has started, they buy the stock at cost plus a small margin. They accepted almost all of it. And months later, when their head office tried to cancel, they looked at the numbers and said, let's finish this phase first. Exactly the point. Make the risky choice look expensive and the safe choice easy. Let me hand you some short lines you can use in negotiations. Say them calmly. Don't oversell. Just repeat them if needed. So you can tell them something like, we are investing a lot upfront, so we can't accept termination for convenience during the first term. If you need flexibility later, we can allow 45 to 90 days notice and a wind down fee, so neither side carries all the loss. You can also let them know that a 3-month cap doesn't work for your type of business. We can agree a 12-month cap, but not for fraud, intentional or reckless behavior, confidentiality breaches, data protection failures, intellectual property issues, or fines caused by your actions. You can also tell them something like, service credits are fine as a first step, but if we see the same serious failure again, we need a right to end the contract for costs. If the relationship ends, we need our data or work product exported quickly in standard format at no extra cost. If your company goes quiet or is unable to perform, we need continuity, escrow or step-in rights so our customers don't suffer. Short, simple, and fair. You might be thinking, but they are a big brand. They won't change their paper. But you'll be surprised. Big companies change paper every day. When you explain the business reasons, don't argue law, argue fairness and costs. We hired based on your forecast. If you cancel for convenience, we need a wind down payment. Our reputation depends on your uptime. If you fail repeatedly, we need an exit. If you hold our data, we need a clean return within 10 days. Standard exports should be free. When you speak like that, even non-lawyers understand you are not asking for special treatment. You are asking for balance. There are few sneaky friends that travel with these two clauses we have talked about. Watch out for automatic renewals with tiny windows to cancel. If the term auto-renews for a year and you only have 10 days to say stop, you can get stuck with bad terms for another 12 months. Watch for service level promises that offer credits only, with no right to terminate if the failure keeps repeating itself. Watch out for intellectual property language that grabs your custom work for them. Watch for lopsided indemnities that makes you pay for things you don't control. If a clause is vague, it will not favor you. Ask for plain language. If they refuse to clarify, that refusal is your answer. Let's make all this practical with a quick spoken checklist so you can use it before signing anything. Is there termination for convenience inside the first term? If yes, remove it or add notice. Wind down money and transition help. Is the liability cap less than 12 months of fees? If yes, raise it. Are there exceptions? No cap for fraud, gross negligence, intellectual property, confidentiality, data breaches, and regulator fines caused by them. If not, add them. Is there a clear rule for handing over data or work if the relationship ends within 10 days in usable format without surprise charges? If not, add it. If the service fails again and again, can you end the contract for costs? If not, add it. Does the contract quietly auto-renews within a tiny window to stop it? If yes, make the window bigger or require a reminder. Are you protected if they go silent or collapse? Escrow step-in rights or at least a plan. Say that list out loud while you hold a highlighter and you spot the traps. I know legal talk can feel heavy, so here's my promise. If you keep just 2 ideas from this video, you'll protect yourself far better than most. First, don't let anyone leave for convenience while you are still carrying the heavy cost of starting up. Second, don't accept a tiny liability cap with no exceptions when their mistake could damage your name and your customers. If you have already signed something risky, you are not stuck. We can request amendments, stretch the notice, add a wind down payment, carve out the serious issues from the cap, add a proper exit plan, and give you a right to end the deal if failure repeats. Most partners will accept small surgical fixes when you frame them as stability, not as aggression. If you're about to sign, send the draft for a red flag review before you commit your team and your cash to a contract that doesn't protect you. If this helped, kindly share with a friend and subscribe to our YouTube channel to be part of this legal family.